Hey guys, Brandon Woolham, today we are checking in with Tyler Michael Smith, who is the composer for the new Karen Kingsbury film, The Christmas Ring. Just left theaters, but it's still out there for you to see before Christmas. You can see it in lots of places digitally, so just look that up. Tyler, the movie been resonating with folks for its emotional depth and that nostalgic tone. What was your first impression when you got to see this story, and then how did that shape the musical direction that you took it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's actually funny you mentioned this because I'm sitting in the very room where I had the initial Zoom call about this film with the director Tyler Russell, and we were kind of just sharing our vision for the project. He explained they wanted to really ha have it have that classic Christmas kind of throwback feel to some of the kind of 90s rom-coms that we grew up watching. And so he after we talked, I actually went over to my computer the other end of the room and started writing a idea for the film, and that ended up turning into the main theme, and the rest just kind of felt like it wrote itself in a way. I know I'm oversimplifying, but it was really fun to work on this project with Tyler and Karen, so it was a blessing for sure.
Not your first time working with Tyler and Karen. How does that kind of factor into the process of when you start writing for a project like this for a couple of folks that you know well, you've worked with them before, all that jazz?
Yeah, I mean, in a way, it's easier. Have history together, and that's the case with any director. Every director is different that you work with, but when you have we had such an amazing experience like we did on the last one working together. It was kind of like, I don't know, it felt very familiar in a very good way. So
Yeah, most
it
people
was good. It was
watching
good.
this,
Yeah,
yeah, they probably have no clue how this process works of scoring a film. They hear
sure.
the music, they don't know what the order of events of something like that coming together. Kind of take us through that process of when somebody calls you, you get the idea, and what happens from there into what we see in theaters when the movie is playing and the music's in the background.
Yes, yeah, and every project is different. So the answer could be, 10 different. I could give you 10 different answers, but in a perfect world, my preference is to get it involved as early as possible. And with this film, like I had mentioned, he called me when they were still in pre-production. So I had the pleasure of kind of starting this journey with them as they were getting into the details of crafting the story. And so I even got to visit the set. My kids are actually extras in the movie, so that was kind of a fun little bit. And so yeah, I basically when someone gives me an idea, really it's me sitting at the piano and coming up with ideas, initially coming up with that theme that we're eventually going to hear an orchestra play, in the film. And really, it's a lot of it's back and forth with the director and kind of making sure we're on the same page. And then, really, when the film gets cut and we really start scoring to picture, that's when we really get into the intense details of getting everything wrapped up by their deadline, which was this was a very short turnaround. So probably the shortest I've ever had on a film, but it ended up working out, and I think the end product was a beautiful film that I hope many get to see this season.
Yeah, for projects like this, do you have like a bank of some songs that weren't used in the past that you're always waiting for that right film to fit them in? Or are you always starting from scratch?
You know what? That would be amazing. And there is a bank of many unfinished ideas that I'm sure I could pull from, but most of the time, we're coming up with stuff from scratch, And I think that I like that because it's original. It's because it's like my first impression of when Tyler told me the story and started sharing with me some of the, um, he sent me some images of sort of color palettes they were looking at. I kind of took all that in and sat down. And that was my initial idea, and so I like that having it be something completely original and new with each project. That's my preference.
Yeah, this film here, it's got a little bit of everything in it: romance, grief, even a World War II connection there. How do you musically balance all of those different themes that are so different?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's the secret, right? Just like any good film, there's ups and downs, peaks and valleys, and obviously that's a plays a huge part in the score. And I think that's one of the parts I like about scoring the most is, uh, whereas some people might enjoy writing a song, to me, uh, I have an easier time taking on a film because you have, over an hour of time to tell this story musically. So, um, I like to write my initial themes, but also like kind of let the music go on a journey of its own, So you're going through like I said, peaks and valleys. So um, to me, I enjoy the challenge of pulling on those emotions in those different scenarios.
Yeah, you've worked on so many projects over the years. What's that one film or project that you've worked on the music for that may surprise folks when they hear you say, "Hey, I was behind the scenes on that one too."
Oh gosh, good question. I've done it's as we're talking about Christmas films, I've probably scored more Christmas films than any other genre, if you want to call that a genre. Um, if you just look at my IMDb page, you'll see Christmas on, I feel like almost every title. Um, but yeah, if I gosh, thinking back, there was a film called 90 Minutes in Heaven that came out in 2015. That was based on a true story about Don Piper's. Uh, he died essentially for 90 minutes and came back with these amazing stories of being in heaven. And my dad and I actually both scored that film together.
Hmm.
My dad had a small role in the film as well, acting. And so that was a unique project where we got to both, work together and come up with a score that I think when you listen to it, you would think one person wrote the music. It kind of came together cohesively. Maybe it's the blood relation, I don't know, but it just seemed to work really well. So that was a really great project that we got to do together.
Yeah. Well, outside of this project, what's next for you? Is there more personal
Yeah.
music that you're going to be out in front of, or is it all movie stuff moving forward for the next few
There's
months?
it's both. I have when I'm not working on a film, I'm working on a album. I'm actually been doing a lot of work with my dad on his latest project, which has been a lot of fun to work on. So there's a lot of orchestral and cinematic elements to some of the music he's been releasing. So that's he pulled me in for some of that. So that's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it took it back a few decades. It sounds like with this, a
He
little
did.
80s vibes on
Yeah.
this one.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of throwback for sure.
Yeah, well,
But it's been
folks that
fun.
are still in the getting ready for the holiday season here, what's your final pitch for them to go look this up, this film, The Christmas Ring, on whatever digital provider that they have on their Roku or TV right now?
Yeah. I mean, I would say, there there's so many great Christmas films I think that are nostalgic to people, but really when you, at least in my opinion, there's only a handful that I can think of that I really enjoy watching every year. And that was, I think, the hope with this project. This is going to be a one of those family traditions where every year it kind of brings them back those nostalgic feelings of Christmas and the true meaning of Christmas too, because it definitely um, it's got a really good message behind it. So I think my hope is that everyone gets to go enjoy this film and have a wonderful Christmas with their families and remember what it's all about. That's my pitch.